Welcome back to Copper Star Precision, the channel dedicated to getting you more points at your competitive shooting matches. Today we're going to go over stages 1 and 2 for the February 2024 NRL22 Course of Fire. Overall, this Course of Fire is pretty straightforward in terms of the positions and the changing between positions, but the target sizes are relatively smaller than I've seen in previous months. So it's going to be a challenge to hit those small targets, especially at distance. But let's jump right into stage 1. It's called Cupid's Tripod. The stage description is as follows. On the start signal, engage the targets in the following order and manner. Tripod, 2 shots at the 60-yard target and 1 shot at the 100-yard target. Then go prone, 2 shots at the 72-yard target, 1 shot at the 100-yard target. Then back to the tripod for 2 shots at the 88-yard target, 1 shot at the 100-yard target. And then prone again, 2 shots at the 98-yard target, 1 shot at the 100-yard target. So the tripod will be used as a prop, but you will not be able to clip into the tripod. I'll put the target sizes down here like I usually do, and notice that those early targets are the smaller targets relatively speaking, so spend more time on those targets. The 100-yard target, you're gonna have to figure out exactly what you wanna do, whether it's gonna be dialing for each target, so dialing for the first one, then dialing up for the 100-yard target and then back down, or if you're gonna use holdovers, but realize that your holdovers may change if you're dialing for targets in between, or you could just hold over the whole stage. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to dial for each set of 2 shots and then hold over the remainder for the 100-yard target. I think that's going to be a little bit easier for me, and I'll put up a picture of what a mock dope card might look like for this stage. So as you can see, I have what I'm dialing to and then what I'm holding over for that far target for each set of 3. Now, again, there is a restriction on this stage that says a magazine change is required. So think about where you want to do that. I think probably the easiest place to do a magazine change is probably going to be before the last string of 3 shots in the prone position. I think it's easier to change a magazine when you're prone and comfortable, so you're not worried about balancing the gun on the tripod and changing the magazine. And again, changing a magazine before you start a string of 3. So lots of things to consider here, but this is how I would approach the stage. There's a lot of stages where there's a lot of room for interpretation. Here, as far as gear goes, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. You're gonna need some sort of bag to prop up on the tripod. You're probably gonna use a bag and bipod for the prone position. So basically what I have here, I have an Armageddon Gear Medium Game Changer, and I have my rear bag of choice, which is the Armageddon Gear X-Wing. The reason I have 2 bags is because what I wanna do is when I start the stage, I wanna get this bag settled like that and leave it there. So I'm not, you could use the same bag as rear support when you go prone, but I think just being able to leave this bag here is going to save you time during the transitions because you're managing less gear once this is established. And at the beginning of the stage, I just drop this back here waiting for the prone stage. So I also have a plate on here. It's just going to give me a little bit more surface area when I'm up on the tripod, and bipod out front, and again, that X-Wing rear bag. So what this might look like is timer will go beep. Of course, I have all this gear in my hand, so let's do it the right way. Rifle, gear in hand, timer goes beep. I'm gonna drop my rear bag over here, take my Medium, take some time to get it settled. Having that plate there really makes for a better surface area. The rifle is extremely stable all on its own. I'm gonna find that first target. I am dialed to, in this case, 0.3. Helps if you have your scope cap open. Gonna find that target. We're gonna engage with 1 shot and then 2 shots. And then I'm gonna find the far target. If I need to adjust parallax, I will do so. Here I'm holding over 1.5 mils, engage the far target. Now, important to note, the tripod can be between 42 and 48 inches. Right now this is about 47 inches to the top of the tripod. So for most people, I feel like this will be a standing position. When you are standing, you're using your left hand here, sort of grabbing the front of the rifle, not the barrel, but the front of the rifle, something like this, squeezing the bag, bringing all this in together, and then you yourself are creating a tripod, 1 point of contact up here and your legs. You shouldn't be bending down like this because this is gonna induce muscle fatigue and wobble. You wanna keep these legs straight so you have skeletal support. So those are the first 3 shots. Bolt back to move for safety. Simply just come up, leave the bag there because we're gonna come back later. Get into a prone position. I'm gonna dial up for my next target. So I'm dialing up to 0.7. I find that next target, I adjust parallax if I need to. Here it's pretty straightforward, engage twice, find the 100-yard target, adjust parallax if needed. Here I'm holding 1.1, engage. Now while I'm down here and I'm comfortable, I'm actually gonna find the third bank of targets, that 88-yard target. I'm gonna find the 88-yard target, I'm gonna adjust my parallax, and I'm gonna dial up. In my case, it's 1.3. So I'm there, so I know that when I get back to the tripod, everything's set. Now it's just a matter of finding the target. And now see, when you're up here and you spend time finding the target and then you're like, oh, I have to dial, I have to adjust parallax, it might throw you off target. So by dialing down there when it's more comfortable, what's gonna happen is you're gonna have just time to find the target and engage. So you find that next target, 2 shots, far target, my holdover is just a 0.5 mil here. Parallax should probably not need to be adjusted when you're at 88 between 100. So I'm probably good there, probably good for the rest of the stage. Back down to prone. I'm gonna dial up. Here's what I do magazine change. Find the 98-yard target, which should be about the same dope between that and the 100-yard target, maybe a 1/10 difference. 2 shots, and then 100-yard target should be about the same. Engage that shot. So keys to this stage, I think having 2 bags, leaving this one here so you're not having to manage as much gear between positions. The gear that you're using for that position just stays at that position. I think dialing and holding over for the far target is appropriate. Change parallax as needed, and really that's all there is to it. Remember, the magazine change has to be conducted. I would do that before the last string of 3. Again, those beginning targets are relatively smaller, so don't, you know, spend more time for like the first 6 shots. Really the first 2 shots is the smallest target. So spend a little bit more time there, make sure you're absolutely stable. And the way you get stable, again, left hand supporting the rifle, grabbing into the bag, making this a solid position, and then making your legs solid, locking them out, very stable here. And again, having a balanced gun is so important in this sport, because when that rifle is there, I don't have to do anything to it. I'm not fighting the rifle. So all I have to do is some minor manipulations, and it basically stays right where I leave it. So balanced rifle, whether it be weights or some other kind of thing, definitely a huge advantage on this stage. That's all I have for this stage. We're gonna quickly talk about the next stage, because it's a prone stage and there's not much to talk about. Stage 2 is called speed dating. It's gonna be 10 rounds, 120 seconds. Basically, it's the KYL rack at 50 yards, and you're gonna go large to small, and then large to small, but dropping the first target, large to small, dropping the first 2 targets, and then just engaging that 1/4 inch one more time. So again, it's gonna be similar to this, bag and bipod of your choice. You have a lot of time, so really work on the fundamentals. You're lucky if this is the first stage of your day, because usually you zero at 50 yards, so you know you're perfectly zeroed, or you know kind of what the wind is doing, and then hopefully in the next 10 minutes you start this stage and you should be right on. So take your time, high magnification, make sure that parallax is perfect, and when you do engage the targets and you do hit the KYL rack, it will probably spin. It may start moving the other targets down the line. You do have plenty of time. Once you're in position, let's say it takes you 20 seconds to get into position, you basically have 10 seconds per shot, which is a lot of time to wait for that KYL rack, slow down, make good clean hits, work on the fundamentals, good trigger control, all of that stuff. So you're on the gun, nice squeeze of the rear bag, load the bipod, nice follow through, break clean shots, and you should do well, especially since it's at 50, it should be your 0. And as long as there's not a lot of wind, you shouldn't have too much of an issue. Well, that's all for stages 1 and 2. Stay tuned for future episodes where we're going over the rest of the course of fire. And until I see you next time, as always, score more points.